So I'm going to get my monomer ready. I'm just going to put a little bit in there. Whoop, I bet it has one of those foil things on it. It does. The foil piece ended up in my lid, so you'll have to look for it and see, you know, where it's at. So I got that out. Can we put a little bit? Okay, just a little bit of monomer. Okay, here's my polymer. It has the foil on it as well. I feel like I'm on one of those unboxing videos on the internet that people watch, which I don't understand, but anyway. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to put those there, bring this here a little bit. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to do with my brush is I am going to prep it. So I'm going to take it the whole way down and let the belly, that's the middle part here, the belly fill up with monomer. Okay? So you always do that just the very first time. After that, you don't have to do that anymore. Okay? Then I'm going to dip in and then I'm going to pick up some polymer. Now, when I pick this up, I am only going to use the tip of my brush. The further down in that you dig into the polymer, you're going to get the acrylic up into your brush, and if you're not careful, very quickly, you're going to end up with a hardened brush that you can't do anything with. So there's a couple rules here. Just use the tip, and you're gonna roll that ball. You're gonna make a ball of acrylic, you're gonna roll it off, and then the very next thing you're gonna do is you're going to wipe your brush. Okay, like that. You want to get that acrylic out of it immediately. Okay, you can't sit and mess around and mess around and mess around and then decide you're going to wipe it. So like this. Okay, so I'm going to pick that up. Now you have to do some experimenting. The longer you work with this, the more you'll figure this out. And each product is a little bit different. So I pick up the ball so it looks a little bit frosty, and then I'm going to roll it off. So I'm going to place it there and just roll my brush, wipe it, and I'm going to lay my acrylic right in there. Okay, I'm going to make sure it doesn't roll up over the edge. I'm going to pick up a little bit more. So you have to figure out how much liquid do I pick up versus how much powder. See how it's a little frosty and then it immediately turns clear. I roll that off. Okay, I'm going to pat that on top. Okay, again, check your sides. Make sure it doesn't come out over your side because that makes it very difficult to work with. Pick up a little bit more. A lot of times I count. I'll say, you know, I'll put it in the liquid and I'll say, okay, I put it in the liquid and now I tapped it against the side of the dappen dish this many times, and I went into the polymer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I'm just looking for it to get a little bit frosty. See how it'll stay in a ball initially until I press it. If you put it on there and it immediately just goes like that and it just goes everywhere, your ball is too wet. Okay, so you have to keep adjusting it. So if I go like this and I only pick up a little bit and I put it on here, I'm just going to put it on the end of my nail, and it just oozes everywhere, that ball is too wet. On the other hand, if I pick up too little and I pick up too much powder, when I go to put it on my fingernail, it will generally just fall off. Okay, I made that fall off, but so it's kind of, you have to figure out for the product you're using, and they'll all be a little bit different, what you want to do, how much liquid you want to pick up. Remember, you have that reservoir in the belly that helps you, but how much you want to pick up with the tip and how much you want to pick up with the tip, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, I gave that a few minutes to harden. You don't want to pick these up and work with them too quickly, or everything will fall apart on you. So what I'm going to do next is, obviously I didn't have enough of the clippers for everybody, the nail tip cutters. So you're gonna have to use a pair of nail clippers that you have at home, and you want to cut these nails pretty short. Okay, so I'm gonna see size-wise, that's a little big. That's pretty good. I'll just focus on this one. Okay, so when you look at a tip, it has what's called a well. That's this part that looks darker because it's thinner. And this is where your nail sits, your natural nail. Where you put it on and it stops, that's called the position stop. Okay, that's where the end of it is. So when you size these, you're going to size them by looking at them right here, okay? You don't want to put them on like this, okay? You will have a horrible time blending this in. You want them glued on here, and you want to look at them from side to side, and you want to see, this one's a tiny bit small. I'm a little bit short over here on this side. Let me go back to that first one that I used. Yeah, I'll just adjust this one, okay? And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that your nail, so this, we're pretending this is the natural nail on a human being, is shaped like the well, to the best of our ability. Okay, I'm barely holding this file. That's how you want to hold it. You don't want to have a death grip on it. You hold it with 4 fingers on top, your thumb on the bottom, and you just go back and forth and shape that. Okay, yeah, that matches pretty good. Okay, I like all that. Now, the other thing that I have to do before I glue this on is I have to take the shine off the nail. So I'm going to use the finer side, the side that's not as coarse. I don't want to scratch my client's natural nail all up. And I'm going to take all the shine off, okay? I'm also going to put the lid on my polymer because I don't want that to be contaminated by the by my filing. Okay, I'm just going to wipe that off, get the dust off of there. I'm going to get my glue ready, okay? And this is the tip that I'm going to be putting on there, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this facing down. If I held it like this and put the glue on and the glue ran back, I would be glued to the tip. Okay, so I want to hold that facing down, and I just want to put a drop of glue in there. I can't tell if any's coming out. Whoop. Let me get a T-pin. I ended up just getting a sewing needle, and I barely touched that, and now you can see the glue's coming out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up a little bit. There. So you may have to do that as well with the needle at home. Okay, so we're going to try that. There we go. Now we're in business. Okay, so I'm going to put a drop of that there. Then holding it down, I'm going to come in at a 45-degree angle down, and I'm going to rock up onto the nail, making sure that it's even with the sides, and I'm going to hold it. Okay, I'm not familiar with this glue. I don't know how long it takes for it to dry, but you can see my fingers are turning white. I'm pushing up very hard with my left hand that's holding the stick, and I'm pushing down very hard with my thumb that's holding the tip. Okay, I'm not just letting it sit there, I'm actually holding it. Okay, and there we go. All right, that's not the best I've ever done, but you know what, it's gonna have to do for today. All right, so that is attached. All right, then you're going to decide how long you want your new nail to be. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shape it. So the first shape I'm going to make is going to be a squoval. So by that, what I mean is I'm going to go back and forth on this until this is perfectly flat. Okay, people my age group like this shape of nail. Then I'm just going to take the corner off, just very lightly. Again, I'm not holding this very tight. Okay, and I did get it off to the side a little bit, so I need to straighten this up. I don't want my tip to be wider than my natural nail. So I'm making sure that that's the same size, and I'm going to make sure that this is the same size. So you'll get better at this as you go. I still make lots of mistakes because I don't do this very often. Okay. Now I'm going to take the fine side of my file, the pink side, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to go over my tip, keeping it nice and flat. I don't want to tilt it. I don't want it to dig down into the person's natural nail. I want to take the shine off. Okay, and I want to blend that in as best I can. Okay, again, always check your sides. That's a dead giveaway if the natural nail is wider or the artificial nail is wider. You want this to be seamless coming out here. Okay, try to get in the habit of not touching the surface of your nail. Okay, because when you're working on a person, you don't want to put your bacteria on there or your oils from your hand. Okay, they will both have a bad effect. Okay, so I'm going to use this and I'm going to wipe this off. Okay, and that's what it should look like. So that's a squoval. Now, if you want to do a coffin nail, you're going to take and you're going to hold this at an angle. Okay, the end is still flat, but I want to remove more product at the tip than I do by the skin. Go ahead and turn this over. I'm going to go ahead and use one of these papers since I don't have to worry about having it for a human being. Okay, this could be considered coffin or almond shaped. Okay, and of course a stiletto, you would make it much pointier than that. Okay, always check underneath. See that piece of plastic that just popped out? So I'm going underneath and making sure there's none of that hanging around. Okay, and that would be day one. I would have attached a natural nail. I'd attached a tip. I would have shortened the natural nail, then put the tip on, blended them together, done 5 of them in a squoval and 5 of them in a coffin or an almond shape. Okay?